This is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. Man, has the world changed in a week. I'm going to try to go through the questions coming in and look at these notes as we go along. I want to start with the Deutsche Bank situation in federal court in New York. Late last week, the suit was filed with including audio tapes of traders fixing the silver market. And now, from the expansion of 3 banks, it looks like over 100 banks and brokerage firms are involved in fixing the silver market and gold market. But this is about the silver fixing in particular. So now it's out there. There's going to be probably billions of dollars of settlements from this. But most of all, we as investors can look for the market to free up. With this being examined in such a tightly thing situation, there are many traders that have lost their jobs, have quit their jobs because of the lawsuits they're facing for fixing the market for these large banks like Deutsche Bank that still is on the verge of going under. So yes, this could stop the volatility, and it could be one of the number one things that drives silver and gold, for that matter, up next year when these people that are naked shorting the markets with no physical metal to back it. So watch this as it develops. This could be a big story. Second one is the gold premiums soaring in China. With the yuan going down and the dollar going up since the election, we've seen a lot of people exiting, trying to get their yuan out, and the ones that are not are putting it into gold to have that physical gold that cannot be printed and created out of thin air. So the premiums on gold had the biggest price increase since the markets opened in China back in April this year, when Chinese could actually go and buy gold at a retail store, so to say. So this is really big news also, because the premiums over there are far higher than they are here. The United States right now is still the cheapest place in the world to buy gold and silver. Number 3, since the election, U.S. mint sales in the U.S., the 2016s, have sold out. The demand for U.S. gold and silver has gone up 4 straight months. And let me interject this. Here at our company, we've actually seen big sales, the size go up, but the number of sales have gone down since President-elect Trump was elected back in early November. So it's interesting that astute investors are buying, seeing what a Trump presidency is going to do for gold, which is very good in our opinion. They took it to mean everybody's going to liquidate gold, everybody's going to move the stock market, and that's what's happened to start with. But let me assure you that the turn could happen any day, where the stock market goes down and goes back to realistic figures, and gold could go up to where it should be based on realistic figures. So we'll continue to keep that doing, but you've got to remember that has sold out. Other news that we've been following for months is starting to break with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, announcing through Bloomberg that they did not give the tonnage of gold that China has, but they said the increase that they audited was 57% higher than what China said they had in 2009. So this is going to put them somewhere between 4,500, 5,000 tons, which is still 3,163 tons short of what the U.S. says they have. Once again, that hasn't been audited since back in 1953 or 1956. I'm not sure. Can't remember the exact date. But Eisenhower was president. So now, with the Republican-controlled presidency, Senate, and Congress, and Rand Paul, son of Ron Paul, who called for an audit and got it through the U.S. Congress several times, but never could get it through the U.S. Senate. So we believe there's a good chance there'll be an audit under President Trump and we'll find out for sure how many tons the U.S. really has. So keep an eye on this. But right now, the other thing, the numbers that were given by the IMF to Bloomberg doesn't mean that's all the gold that China has. It means they had enough audited to get their special drawing rights from the IMF. So we'll keep following that story, but it's great to have an update on news. The next one is, it was just announced that the expected remaining ounces of gold in the planet Earth is 1 billion. At current mining, how many tons is being mined per year, it's right at 10 years left. Do you think the U.S. is going to be quit printing money within 10 years? Gold is the biggest steal beside silver that's ever been in the investment world. Especially if you're young, or especially if you're old and you're setting up trust or you're passing money along, you need to be sure that your estate, your heirs, have gold and silver in their portfolio. Silver is expected to be gone in 5 to 7 years, and gold in 10 years. I can't even imagine what the price will be when we get 10 years down the road. So all I can tell you is this is a steal. Could the price of gold go a little lower before the first year? Certainly it could. But my bet is it won't. It's locked in above the 1140, and we're going to have a double-digit return for gold in 2016 and a very nice return in 2017. So just watch as we see the supply of gold and silver dwindle to where there is no more, and the only gold and silver that will trade will be above ground. Which leads us to the next update on the Sharia law. On November 19th, through the World Gold Council, the Islamic Foundation finally passed that gold can be owned by Muslims that practice Sharia law. They're now in the startup stage and what can and cannot qualify to be approved by the Islamic Financial Foundation. So right now we're hearing they're looking at ETFs. Well, certainly that helps gold somewhat. But eventually, if they get to where they can own physical gold, which has not been announced at this point, but the point is it's now going to be help gold either way. But if it gets approved where they can own physical gold, it could really set the price of gold up, since there's over 1.5 billion people that practice Sharia law in the world today. The last news comes from India, and we found out last week, if you follow the news, that the equivalent of the IRS invaded or had warrants to go in certain citizens' houses to see if their gold was acquired through the proper taxation of 6%. The black market in gold is huge in India, and if they don't have a receipt showing they bought it through the government-approved imports, then that gold could and was confiscated. But where a lot of people believe, and this story is developing, it's not finished yet, is there's no way, because silver is an industrial metal first, an investment metal second. So we think there's going to be a huge shift to silver for the first time in history by a country that's been the biggest purchaser of physical gold, because they're going to keep buying the metal. And they may be willing to pay the 6% tax to be sure it doesn't get confiscated, but others will buy silver. So we now see India moving in to the silver market. And remember what I said last week, China's saying that within 5 to 7 years, the time that silver is expected to expire, they want to have over 50% of their energy needs met through solar panels, which every solar panel has to have silver content. So people, I'm telling you, I don't care what it looks like to you right now. I don't care where the price is right now. If you're going to do something right in the investment world, you need to get in silver and gold now. because the dwindling supplies, the increasing demand through Sharia law, through Indians buying it, through Americans diversifying, through Trump's presidency that's going to be very pro-gold as he prints more and more money to get jump-started. And actually, the first 2 years, we will have bigger debt than we had under Obama. So the debt's going to go up, interest rates are going to go up, and gold and silver are going to go up as that money is printed. Hopefully by the third or fourth year of Trump's presidency, we will start seeing the job creation help increase the foundation for taxpayers, and we will increase tax revenues and start going after the deficit spending, but it will be 3 or 4 years. So anyway, a lot this week. If you need to contact us, you can reach us at 800-247-2812. 800-247-2812, and you can talk to Dan or Kathleen or myself. If you're looking at a precious metals IRA, self-directed, that has physical metal in it, we can help you set that up. Once again, you can reach us at 800-247-2812. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.